And now, the revolution begins. AOC says it's time for movements of people to come together to protect one another as hordes of histrionic women cry on camera. My favorite is this woman. It's gone massively viral, where she puts the camera in front of her and then she brings her kids in and she's like, Donald Trump has won. Your school will probably have information. And the kids are going, no, mommy, no. These people have some kind of paranoid delusional derangement. We call it Trump derangement syndrome, but perhaps there's a more academic word for it or phrase for it. But these people are suffering from a variety of mental disturbances, which I think is endangering their children. But hey, what can you say? Right now, far leftists have begun protesting across the country. The Trump era has returned. They're calling Trump a fascist clown. News outlets are reporting that America has become fascist. They've elected a fascist. And so now must begin the resistance. Oh, here we go again. You know, my friends, I started making these YouTube videos at the beginning of the Trump era. I had made videos earlier than this in the Obama era and during Occupy. But then I worked for a couple of companies and I was producing documentaries and covering the news. And so I started producing more of these podcasts. I started around the time when Donald Trump was in the middle of his first term. And I covered the outrage, the manipulations, the midterm elections and things like this. But when Trump lost in 2020, I thought to myself, I don't know what happens now. I really don't, because if the Democrats win, they win the popular vote, they win the mandate, I suppose, then we're going to see a dramatically different country. And what does that mean for the rest of us who are fighting for constitutional rights and values and freedoms? And as it turns out, nothing changed. You know, Trump kind of faded away for a little bit. He went to the back, he went into the background for a second as things simmered down. And of course, they kept attacking him. But we still just kept reporting on what Democrats were doing, the corruption, the malfeasance, etc. So right now, many are asking what happens next. Donald Trump has won. Well, we're seeing it. It took only a couple of days for AOC to say we have to have a movement of people to push back, for protests to erupt, and for the media to claim that it is racism and sexism that has made Donald Trump win the popular vote this time. So I have a pretty good idea of what's to come. We have a popular mandate. Donald Trump has announced he'll be ending this gender ideology and child sex changes. And Democrats are screaming, this is the end. Some people are calling for violence. No joke. I'm not going to play those videos. They're nuts. And many are protesting in the streets. Expect to see summers of love, violence, the media lies and manipulations as they sink into obscurity. It's going to be interesting, but it is worrisome. Hopefully, Donald Trump gets a handle on this and makes sure that violence is not permitted and that we have a clean transfer of power, which we have not had in 8 years now. And you know what? I got to say, criticize Donald Trump in 2020, fine. I don't blame Trump for January 6th, but it wasn't a clean transfer of power, that's for sure. And in 2016, the Democrats framed Trump as a Russian asset and spy. That certainly wasn't a clean transfer of power. But let's see where the resistance is currently at. Newsweek says, Donald Trump protests break out in several cities. Fascist clown. Oh, I want to play the clip from AOC. We've got it right here. Before we do, my friends, head over to castbrew.com. Buy Cast Brew coffee. This show is brought to you by Cast Brew, which is our coffee company. It's the best coffee. Everyone agrees. At least that's what I've been told. So pick up Ian's Graphene Dream or Stand Your Grounds. Whole bean and ground. They're delicious. Everybody agrees. Also, become a member at Timcast.com to join our Discord server. As a member of the Discord, you're going to hang out with tens of thousands. No joke. Tens of thousands of people who have similar ideas. You will meet people. You will make friends. The founding fathers met in pubs and bars. Well, right now, with the power of technology, you can hang out with like-minded individuals in our Discord server as a member, and your membership sustains this show and this company, so we greatly appreciate it. But let's jump to the first clip. AOC talking about what must be the beginning of a movement to resist Donald Trump.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives.
Indeed.
We cannot give up. We now find ourselves in a time in history that has precedent, and we find ourselves...
I want to pause real quick. Yes, there is precedent. It's called 2017 to 2021. Yeah, but she's talking about Nazis. Okay.
I believe in a time
She looks very tired.
where there are, let's say, peers in history of mass movements of people that mobilize to protect one another in times of fascism and authoritarianism. And this is the era that we are poised to enter. Donald Trump has talked about turning the military on U.S. citizens that he...
No, he has not. Trump said that in the event there was mass unrest, if need be, he would invoke the Insurrection Act, calling upon the National Guard to put down riots. You know who else did that? Barack Obama did. Now, hold on. He did not invoke the Insurrection Act. What I'm saying is, under Barack Obama, when BLM protests were rampant, say Ferguson, the National Guard was deployed. Nobody went, the military's been unleashed on the American people. Actually, some far leftists did, but liberals didn't care.
deems his domestic political enemies. Authoritarians and people that he affiliates closely with and strongmen abroad in regimes like that, it is not uncommon to jail political dissidents or legislative opponents.
Are you talking about them trying to arrest Donald Trump? And now that he is president-elect, they're talking about just shuffling away these criminal charges? Yeah, Judge Merchan is considering dropping the New York charges, even though he's already a convicted felon, they claimed. I think Donald Trump should get in the DOJ, get an attorney general, a deputy attorney general, head of the FBI, and they should immediately investigate the phony criminal charges that were levied against Donald Trump in New York. 34 counts of felony falsifying business records. And guess what, my friends? They require an underlying crime by which Trump was never convicted. This is a violation of civil rights. It's a fundamental manipulation of our political system for power. And I do not believe it should go unanswered. So cry about it, AOC.
This is the world that we very realistically may be entering.
Very realistically may be entering, that Donald Trump is going to blah, blah, blah. Well, here we go, my friends. There's protests, far left activists protest at Chicago's Trump Tower to end the Trump era and stop white supremacy. You know what's funny is that it was largely Latinos and black people who shifted for Donald Trump in ways we did not expect, giving him this victory. Now, of course, he improved among women and men and minority voters across the board. How about them apples? And look at this. There's your mass protest.
Donald Trump, you will see! Donald Trump, you will see! Racist, sexist, anti-gay.
It's zombies. They're zombies. I'm sorry. Racist, sexist, anti-gay. What has Donald Trump done? These people couldn't tell you. It's just general opposition. They are mindless zombies. They could not tell you what Trump is doing or wants to do. And I can tell you this. Donald Trump's got a video out right now where he's like, the transgender children surgeries will be stopped in my administration. And they can come out and say, oh no, Trump's anti-trans. But they're not doing that. Racist, sexist, anti-gay is a mindless chant that they've used for over 20 plus years or longer. They claim every Republican is racist, sexist, and anti-gay, no matter what. Despite the fact that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama opposed gay marriage. It is zombified, meaningless drivel. Ah, yes, the New Republic. Our good friends over at the New Republic are losing their collective minds. Americans just elected a fascist to the White House. Donald Trump has defeated Kamala Harris in the presidential election, indeed. They go on to mention that Trump won. Well, I think I don't have Decision Desk pulled up. But let me grab that Decision Desk HQ for you guys. Presidential election, because we do have updated numbers, and it's always fun to show. The final count is in. Donald Trump with 312 electoral votes, 72.9 million votes, which is just about the same that he got in 2020. Kamala Harris is at 68 million votes, which is 13 million less than Joe Biden got, and we're wondering what that number is. Right now, California only has 60% in. So if we're looking at about 40%, then perhaps she may actually jump an additional 2.5 million votes. There still is a large discrepancy, and I think it's fair to say that many people have quit the Democratic Party and just plumb don't care. Shout out to Atlas Intel for getting the map perfectly correct, by the way. But here's Al Jazeera. Enlightened Americans must now rise up and resist. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when Donald Trump won the first time, he had the House. The Rhino Republicans blocked him, hated him, entertained Russiagate. This will not be the case this time, for we have the popular mandate. And so, I demand, as all of you should, real change. Trump has so far announced a bunch of really amazing plans. His Great American Birthday Party is one of the coolest things I have ever heard. A great state fair, national fair in Iowa, where all of the states will create. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be massive. It's like a national Olympics. So it's like each state will create their own fair within this massive fairground. This is like the coolest thing ever. Not only is it a massive boon for the economy, but imagine how cool it's going to be to go to Iowa, and it's going to be a year-long thing. You're going to go to Iowa to the fairgrounds, and there's going to be a different state. You're going to be like, let's go to the Rhode Island Fair. And you're going to go there, and they're going to have crab, and they're going to have shrimp and things like, I don't know. I don't know if they do shrimp up there. Whatever. They do crab, though. Crab's up in Rhode Island. And Maryland crab's famous. You're going to go to Texas, and they're going to have rodeo stuff. They're going to have, barbecue. And all of these states. And Chicago's going to have deep dish pizza because food is the only thing that matters, obviously. But you're going to go to these fairs, and each state is going to give you a taste of their culture. It is incredible. And they're screaming it's fascism. All right, Al Jazeera, what say you? They says, this is clear. Much of America has voted for a fascist. In that short, blunt opening, if that short, blunt opening offends your delicate sensibilities, then you, dear reader, best dispense finally with the saccharine-drenched myths about a divided, discordant nation that has elected a fascist president again. This remains unclear America's fate. Blah, blah, blah. They say, but we, and most importantly, our blatant billboard-sized injunctions were dismissed by the ever-so-polite cognoscenti of the hyperbolic musings of clickbait-seeking polemicists who had little understanding of the true nature of fascism. In other words, these are people who try to use obscure words so they sound real good and smart and stuff. If you can't convey your idea to everyone, then I'm sorry, you don't quite understand your idea. So to sit there and say, but we, most importantly, billboard-size injunctions were dismissed by ever-so-polite cognoscenti and the hyperbolic musings of clickbait-seeking polemicists with little understanding of the nature of fascism. What you basically said is, gee, I just plumb don't like Trump. You think that you're sounding smart, but you don't. And in fact, if you just wrote something simple like, we plumb just don't like Trump, more people would have understood what you were trying to convey. So predictably and irresponsibly, the polite cognoscenti, this is amazing, remained wedded to their agreeable delusions, even after Trump organized and unleashed a violent insurrection. He keeps saying this. Cognoscenti. Shut up. Jeez. Trump is not the leader of a cult. He embodies a shared set of values and beliefs that reflect to his horde of followers throughout the expanse of America an irresistible ideology. It's called, general American ideology. Cry more about it. In the end, he basically says, the question is, will Trump destroy America too? Enlightened Americans will, I'm convinced, do all they can, with all their might, purpose, and conviction, to prevent the ruination of America. Will it be enough? I don't know, but the alternative is awful to fathom. Well, by all means, my friends, you can cry all you want about it. Mother Jones says, America meets its judgment day. Trump's victory signals a national embrace of the politics of hate and a possible fascist future. Quite remarkable, in my opinion, how Donald Trump is just like, we're going to secure our borders, we're going to send the criminals home, we're going to end the wars, and they're like, why do you hate us? Jimmy Kimmel crying. He can't even say the word Ukraine. You know what I love about the Jimmy Kimmel segment? I did this earlier. Is that he's like, it's a bad day for the poor, the working class, and our allies in Ukraine. He couldn't mutter out the word Ukraine without crying because you see what he really cares about. These people are despicable. They would watch this country burn and scream and cry, it's fascism, because Donald Trump won't bomb children overseas or invade Ukraine. Now, you know what's really funny? Hamas is already saying, the war is over, please, please. And my joke to Seamus Coughlin, I was like, you should do the cartoon where Trump's walking to the White House for his inauguration, and as he is, the whole world starts self-correcting. The wars end. like Volodymyr Zelensky and Putin are like, no, we're good, we're not fighting anymore. And then Hamas is like, we're done. Iran's like, we're so sorry, Mr. President. Because they know Biden is weak, and Kamala was an open invite to chaos. And Donald Trump hasn't even done anything yet, and already people are worried. And these psychopaths, these are the people who would push vice as virtue. They advocate for drugs, for homelessness, for morbid obesity. I'm not kidding. They say, stop shaming me. You know what the funny thing about this worldview of liberals, the modern America default lib, is that these people think there's they should feel no shame. They should have no responsibilities, and they should get whatever they want. But you know what the funny thing about shame is? When they say, stop fat shaming me, it's like, why do you care? Do you feel bad about what I have said? It's almost like that negative feeling you have is indicative of you knowing what you're doing is wrong. And that's it. Someone who is morbidly obese and demanding that we pay their health care bills is upset that we're shaming them. The feeling they get of shame that they're complaining about, it's because they know they are doing something wrong. And they don't like it. They want you to just accept that they will be morbidly obese, irresponsible, reckless, lewd, and lascivious, and we got to pay the bills. But the American people have spoken. And it's not fascism to say, clean your room, lose some weight, take care of yourself. But you know what the worst thing is? These people have lost their damn minds, and we haven't even demanded of them they lose weight. All we said was, dude, you can eat whatever you want. Heck, eat a whole pizza for all I care. Just don't make me pay your bills. And that was fascism. They're screaming and pounding on the tables. Open your borders, let in the criminals. And what did we say? We said, we're going to send the criminals home. And they went, that's Nazism. That's concentration camps. And I'm like, my dude, literally telling people who came here illegally that we're going to get them a plane ride back to their home. That's fascism. Let me tell you about the time I stayed over at my buddy's house and we were all drinking and they're like, bro, you can't drive. I'm going to get you a ride home. I never realized my friends were fascists. They said, look, we had a party. You drank too much. You can't stay here. We're going to call you a cab. And to them, it's fascism. Why? Well, because they should be able to drink, vomit on the floor, and pass out. And that's your problem. But you know what I love the most? Is when I think it was the Nelk Boys. And I think James O'Keefe did this. James O'Keefe did one with guns where he went to someone's house and he knocked on the door and said, hi, we're advocates for gun control. Do you own any guns? And they were like, no, I don't. And they were like, can we put these signs up? And it says, proud gun-free home. And the guy was like, no, no, don't. He's like, well, why not? And he says, well, it's inviting people to come in. And he's like, it almost sounds like you're saying you need a gun. You don't need a gun, right? Yeah, these people are evil. They would say, nobody should have guns. But I certainly would never want anyone to know that I don't. Then the Nelk Boys, they brought they went to these houses. And they were like, hey, we're an pro-immigration group. I think they were saying they were with Harris or they were like Democrats. And they were like, do you believe we should protect refugees and illegal immigrants? They're like, yes. And like, should we provide them with housing and shelter? Like, we do. And they're like, thank you so much, because we actually have some. And then a bus pulls up and a bunch of illegal immigrants, well, probably not really illegal immigrants, but Mexican guys and Latino guys come out. And they're like, if you could please put them up. Thank you so much. And they're like, no, we're not going to do this. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? My favorite was when this one lady's like, wait, you're going to bring them here. And then he goes, just say you're voting for Trump without saying you're voting for Trump. It was masterfully done. The moment these Democrats screamed that how dare you bring illegal immigrants to my neighborhood, the Nelk Boys were like, oh, you must be Trump supporters because you won't let these people in your own home. So let me tell you about Judgment Day. Sorry, the people who broke our laws and came here illegally being offered a free ride back to their own homes is not fascism. In fact, it's quite polite. I'm surprised Trump's being so nice about it. But to these people who have never experienced real hardship and have no idea what's going on in the universe, let alone the world, this is the worst thing they've ever seen. And that's what you get with millennials. Let me tell you. These millennials are like, he called me a mean word. It hurts. Well, look, these kids grew up with participation trophies. They were never insulted. They never got into any fights. They are soft and pink. And so the worst pain they've ever experienced is being told a naughty word. And they freak out, lose their minds, and scream and cry because it hurts. I suppose when you grow up with actual hardship and difficulty, I don't know, maybe not having food or, having gangs in your neighborhood or crime, you really just go, my dude, someone shot at me once. I really am unfazed by you saying words. When I'm standing on a street corner in Chicago and I'm worried a drive-by might happen, if someone yells a naughty word at me, I'm not going to spin around in shock and beg for help. I'm like, dude, I don't have time for whatever. I don't even think about it. I'm like, because that car coming close to me, I don't know what they're on about. That's the reality for people who actually understand what it means to survive and struggle. And these soft pink losers, the losers, have no idea what it takes to survive in this world because of the luxury that we've given them. But you know what? Weak men make hard times. And the past 4 years have been pretty hard because weak men voted for Biden and Harris. And now, many of these weak men, well, they realized what's at stake. And so the hard times have made more strong men. And they voted for Donald Trump. And hopefully that's it. Hopefully Rudyard Lynch of What If Alt History is wrong. And there is no real revolution. It's just whinging leftists on the internet. I hope that's it. And I hope Trump makes America great again. Smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know, become a member over at timcast.com, and support our work. We got more segments coming up throughout the day, so hang out, and we will see you all then.